You are gliding over the surface of an ancient tropical sea. The colors shift from grey to multitude shades of blue, turquoise and green. The air is warm and almost as thick as the water. Gradually, you descend towards the surface where the air and the water meet. As you dive in, you are enveloped by the glares of the flickering water. The water is warm and gentle, and you feel home here. Space around you is filled with distant sounds. Is it the humming of the Earth axis as it resonates with the sun? Is it the songs of blue water dragons that can be heard over hundreds of kilometers? Or is it the hissing of tiny gas bubbles? What do you hear? Water is the cradle of life, a place of inception. As you continue to descend, your body becomes smaller and smaller. You begin to notice tiny plankton creatures around you. They are everywhere. There are trillions of them in the water around you, but their life is brief. They fade away and their beautiful calcium skeletons quietly fall towards the bottom of the sea, like some underwater snowflakes. At this point, you become one with the seawater. The water molecules are rushing and bouncing around you. They form hydrogen bonds and create a pulsating tunnel that pushes you forward. As you approach the sea bottom, the plankton shells create a sluggish fluid, an ooze, that gradually becomes more and more dense until eventually it turns into a solid matter. The zillions of dead plankton shells turn into layers of snow-white chalk. The whiteness so white it clears the memory and resets you. Gradually, you get buried in layers of porous white chalk. Within the masses of chalk, you discover burrows and tunnels. Powerful creatures made these subterranean palaces a long time ago. Now, these passages, layers, and caves are slowly filled up with a gel-like translucent substance. It is called amorphous silica. It fills the cavities and envelops the remains of elusive marine creatures. As silica solidifies, it imprints the shapes and traces of the ancient and warm sea. Millions of years pass by. The amorphous silica hardens into the microscopic quartz crystals. In their quiet determination, the atoms are arranged into a cryptocrystalline network of hard glass-like material called flint. This is how flint is born, deep under the bottom of the sea. The molecules dance in a synchronized movement until, gradually, they find an ultimate moment of balance. In this still subterranean world, you begin to fall asleep. You fall deeper and deeper until you cross the border into the dream world. Who would have known that within this confined underground space, so many beautiful dreams are being conceived? Dreams that would engender many things to come. Geochemical impulses and biogenic remains implode into a core of conscious energy. Feel the embryo core, a vessel of pure energy, radiating and changing everything around you. A shape-shifting storyteller that sets the world to motion again. The rumbling and tremble can be felt through the thick layers of chalk. Someone is crawling and grinding the surface above you. You hear it breathe and growl. You hear it crushing huge rocks and moving seas of frozen water. The giant flakes of chalk are pushed to the surface by the advancing glacier. The reality of this new landscape is overwhelming. As a newborn child, you are learning to navigate this new and ever-shifting environment. You absorb the cold water and the rays of the long-forgotten sun. You explore the caves and caverns inside the glacier and eventually meet other beings of the same nature. For hundreds of thousands of years, you roam the icy horizons together, forming unions and traveling south. Together, you light the first blue fire and learn how to control the movement of the ice masses, basking in the glorious times of the breathing ice, times when the earth was redone. Let this coldness clear your mind. You slowly breathe in 100,000 of years of ice spell passing before your eyes. You breathe out 10,000 years of warm period and thriving of organic life forms. Breathe in. The ice returns to for another 200,000 years. Breathe out 15,000 years of interglacial release and abundance. Breathe in 120,000 years of expanding glaciers. You breathe out and enter the Holocene. Baltic Sea was once a vast freshwater lake, known as Ancylus Lake or Baltic Ice Lake. It contained water from the newly melted glaciers. 10,000 years ago, icebergs were still floating in it. The lake was separated from the North Sea in the area of the present-day Denmark. The only connection between the two bodies of water was a river called Dana. Dana would carry the fresh water from the ice lake into the North Sea, but as the tectonic plates continued to shift, the balance had changed, and Dana has reversed its flow. Now it was flowing inwards, bringing the salt water from the North Sea into the great ice lake. This shift gave birth to the Baltic Sea as we know it. Big parts of South and West Finland were still underwater at that point. You are gliding over the surface of a newborn and icy Baltic Sea. The land begins to rise as the glaciers continue to melt and the ice masses are being released from the pressure of the ice. Thousands of rocky islets appear from the water. They create peculiar patterns and constellations. The archipelago sea is emerging. As the land continues to rise, the islands merge and expand. One by one, the islands are being enveloped by the carpet of lush moss. The tiny tentacles dissolve the gray granite and turn it into fertile soil. As so many times before, moss is preparing the land for the newcomers. One day, they appear from the morning mist, the pioneers, the storytellers, the shape-shifting emissaries to venture into the new frontiers. Brought here by the Dana River and the cold streams of the North Sea, they carry shards of razor-sharp flint. They make new pacts and alliances with the local Vetter and Haltia spirits. They cast spells of fire. They build a home within a home within a home. Now look in front of you. What you see behind the glass bears traces of the great transformation. The myriads of ancient marine creatures, the underground palaces of silica and chalk, the embryo core and the crystalline inhabitants of the glaciers, the first inhabitants of the archipelago sea and the fire makers. What you see is a manifested dream on a bed of green, moist, and lush moss. The city, the civilization, 1,000 generations of human lives, all this exists for only one instant if compared to the landscape in front of you. Many have been here before you,